There are subtle, often unconscious actions that betray a hidden jealousy, like a tiny crack in a perfectly painted wall, revealing the insecurity beneath. It's not always the obvious sneer or the cutting remark. Sometimes it's far more insidious, lurking just beneath the surface of what appears to be a smile. We're talking about the silent signals, the psychological breadcrumbs someone leaves when they can't stand to see you shine, even as they pretend to be your biggest cheerleader. This isn't about paranoia, but about developing a keen eye for the true currents flowing in human interactions, safeguarding your peace, and understanding the complex dance of emotions that often goes unspoken. It's about recognizing when someone's reaction to your success isn't genuine joy, but a silent, painful comparison that diminishes them, and, if you're not careful, can subtly diminish you too. One of the most telling signs is the reluctance to celebrate your wins. Think about it: you share exciting news, a promotion, a personal achievement, a new relationship, and their response feels flat. There's a forced smile, a hurried, "That's great," followed by an immediate pivot back to themselves or a subtle attempt to downplay your accomplishment. "Oh, that's nice. I heard that company isn't doing so well though," or, "Yeah, but remember when I did something similar 5 years ago?" It's a deflecting maneuver, a psychological knee-jerk reaction to protect their ego from the perceived threat of your success. It's as if your light dims theirs, and they can't tolerate the shadow. You walk away feeling like you didn't quite get the enthusiastic validation you expected, a little confused by their lukewarm reaction. Then there's the constant one-upmanship, a desperate attempt to always be perceived as better. You mention a challenging project at work, and suddenly they're recalling a much harder one they conquered, often with vague, unverifiable details. You share a funny travel story, and they immediately launch into an anecdote about their own, far more exotic, adventurous, and frankly, unbelievable trip. It's not a friendly exchange of stories. It's a competition where they feel compelled to finish ahead, every single time. This isn't about sharing experiences. It's about establishing dominance, ensuring they remain in the perceived superior position, a subtle but persistent undermining of your narrative. Why do some people feel this constant need to elevate themselves above everyone else? Closely related to this is the habit of giving backhanded compliments. These are the remarks that sound positive on the surface, but carry a sting underneath. "That dress looks surprisingly good on you. I didn't think you could pull that off." Or, "Wow, you actually managed to get that project done. Good for you, I thought you'd struggle." It's praise laced with an insult, an attempt to elevate themselves by subtly reminding you of their supposed higher standards or your perceived limitations. They want you to feel both praised and put down simultaneously, keeping you slightly off balance. This toxic blend of sweetness and venom is a classic tell, leaving you with a lingering doubt about their true intentions, even as you try to brush it off as a harmless joke. What about the way they exaggerate your flaws or minimize your strengths? When others praise you, they might interject with a, "Yes, but you know how she can be when she's stressed." Or, "He's good at that, but his other skills are not so much." They highlight minor imperfections as if they were significant character flaws, or they'll acknowledge your success but quickly attribute it to luck, connections, or some other external factor, rather than your hard work and talent. They're effectively telling anyone who will listen that your achievements aren't entirely legitimate, trying to chip away at the foundation of your success. It's a subtle form of character assassination, aimed at reducing your shine in the eyes of others. Consider the person who consistently offers unsolicited advice, especially when you haven't asked for it, and are clearly succeeding. You're excelling in a new role, and there's suddenly a fountain of helpful tips on how you should be doing things, implying your current methods are somehow inadequate. They might even try to warn you about potential pitfalls that don't exist, attempting to sow seeds of doubt. This isn't genuine mentorship. It's a veiled attempt to demonstrate their perceived superior knowledge and subtly suggest you're not fully capable on your own. It's a power play, an effort to control the narrative around your competence, always positioning themselves as the wise, experienced guru. And then there's the gossiping or spreading rumors about you. This is perhaps one of the more direct, though still often covert, manifestations of jealousy. They might share personal information you confided in them, twisting it to cast you in a negative light. Or they might invent stories, embellishing truths, all designed to damage your reputation and diminish your standing. When someone feels threatened by your presence, undermining your social currency can feel like a viable weapon. They might even act concerned while subtly planting doubts in others' minds, playing the innocent bystander while fanning the flames of negativity. This behavior points to a deep insecurity, a fear that your positive image somehow detracts from theirs. Have you ever noticed someone who seems to mimic your actions, style, or ideas? They might start dressing like you, using your catchphrases, or even pursuing the same hobbies or career paths, not out of genuine interest, but out of a desire to emulate what they perceive as your successful blueprint. It can feel flattering at first, but if it happens too often, and without genuine respect or acknowledgement, it signals something deeper, a belief that your path is superior, coupled with an inability to forge their own unique identity, or perhaps a competitive drive to outdo you even on your own terms. It's a strange mixture of admiration and resentment, where they want what you have, but often lack the self-belief to find their own original way. Then there's the individual who becomes visibly uncomfortable or irritable when you're the center of attention. Imagine a group setting where you're sharing a triumph or receiving praise. The jealous person might subtly shift their body away, avoid eye contact, or even interject with an unrelated topic, trying to redirect the spotlight. Their energy shifts palpably, radiating a kind of quiet resentment. They simply cannot tolerate you being the focus, because in their mind, attention is a finite resource, and if it's on you, it's not on them. This discomfort is almost a physical manifestation of their internal struggle, a clear signal they're battling something deep down. What about the classic friendship that feels conditional on your struggles? This person is incredibly supportive when you're going through a tough time, a breakup, a job loss, a personal crisis. They're there for you, offering comfort and empathy. But the moment things start looking up for you, when you regain your footing and begin to thrive, their support wanes. They might even seem distant or critical. Their comfort comes from seeing you in a vulnerable position, which makes them feel more secure about their own standing. Your recovery and success, however, challenge that delicate balance, exposing their underlying envy. It's a relationship built on disparity, not genuine affection. Another telling sign is their inability to acknowledge your success directly or give you credit. When someone else brings up your achievement, they might agree half-heartedly or quickly change the subject. They struggle to articulate genuine praise, often resorting to generic, hollow statements. They might even subtly take credit for your ideas or contributions in a group setting, or, conveniently, forget to mention your involvement in a successful project. Their ego simply cannot permit them to validate your triumph unequivocally, especially if it means acknowledging your skill or intelligence. It's a silent refusal to grant you the recognition you've earned, because doing so would diminish their own self-worth in their eyes. Consider the person who actively discourages you from pursuing new opportunities or taking risks. You express excitement about a new venture, a career change, or a bold personal goal, and they immediately jump to all the reasons it will fail, or why it's a bad idea. They might say they're just being realistic, or looking out for you. But their warnings often feel less like constructive advice and more like an attempt to keep you in your current, less threatening position. Their fear isn't for your failure, it's for your potential success, which could further highlight their own stagnation or perceived lack of courage. It's a subtle sabotaging, cloaked in concern. Finally, a powerful indicator is a general as passive aggressiveness or subtle sabotage. This can manifest in countless ways. Accidentally forgetting to tell you about an important meeting, misplacing something crucial for your project, or making promises they never intend to keep, causing you to miss deadlines or opportunities. These aren't overt acts of malice, but rather small, consistent actions that undermine your efforts and create obstacles. When confronted, they'll often deny any ill intent, claiming forgetfulness or a misunderstanding. It's a coward's jealousy, too afraid to confront their feelings directly, so they resort to veiled hostilities to knock you down a peg. Recognizing these signs isn't about becoming cynical, but about becoming discerning. It's about protecting your energy, understanding the dynamics of your relationships, and realizing that sometimes the true challenge isn't external obstacles, but the silent battles fought in the hearts of those around you. When you encounter someone exhibiting these behaviors, it's often less about you and more about their own insecurities. Your shine simply reflects back to them what they feel they lack. The real power lies not in changing them, but in understanding them and choosing how you engage or disengage from relationships that silently diminish your spirit. What kind of energy do you allow into your space, and what does it truly cost you?